Yes, welcome to the No Stay Project live for June 20. June 27, 2020. Glad to be with you here. And I did remember to put the number for the show, the call-in, so I'll give that out during the show if you want to check that out. It's 717-275-8941. And the passcode is 1233428. 1233428. You can also Skype me at Frank Rizzo 3. And I appreciate the support of the show from Nelson, who's been a long time supporter of the show. Really appreciate it. And so I can have the call line the entire show and not have to. So appreciate that. So the next few shows are coming courtesy of Nelson in Maine. Hey, hello everybody. Ciao a tutti. Still got to get working on that. Frank Rizzo 3. Yes, if you want me on Skype at Frank Rizzo 3, just instant message me first, and we'll bring you up that way. Wow, the world is still burning, and just some of the things that are going on, I want to talk about. I remember a joke as a kid. And after all these years, I've remembered it. And tutti frutti, more like it. Well, you know, I guess. I guess whatever floats your boat. I'm guessing foreign sauce doesn't understand Italian. Anyway, the joke goes, and it's relevant because of what's going on, and something you see a viral video in Florida. I guess they were voting for to make that so that people have to wear a mask during this global pandemic, or plandemic, as some of you like to say. It's all been planned out. How do they know? How do they know about it? There's going to be a pandemic. Well, that's because there's a history to it. You know, a little bit of critical thinking. Yeah, tutti. Yes, tutti means all. Your spell check is getting the worst of you there. So the joke goes, and I don't remember the whole thing, but basically the punchline was that after all these years, scientists have finally realized that it was the lab coats, the white lab coats. That was actually what was causing all the cancer in the rats. Boom, boom, right? And so now, and what reminds me of that joke is when you watch this video of people opposing the city council, like Palm Beach, I forget exactly where it was. Did Dr. Cox actually say that? That doesn't sound like Dr. Cox, but anyway, I'm getting distracted there. In the video, I guess they were showing the outrage that people had that they would pass a local ordinance requiring people to wear a mask in the middle of a pandemic, and especially where Florida is now like leading the world in new daily cases of it. And one of the comments was that the masks are literally killing people, right? The mask literally, I'm just quoting, literally killing people. The mask is what's responsible. So there's also a theory out there that the disease, whether it be the flu or whether it be COVID-19 or some, severe pneumonia, whatever is causing somebody to need to be on a ventilator, the disease is not responsible for killing them. No, it's the ventilators now. The ventilators are now fatal. The ventilators are actually killing people. The ventilator. Now I get that there could be a problem. I know it was always thought that when Mia Bisnono de Morte, when she passed away, she was 96 years old. She had been in a hospital and she was intubated. I don't believe she was but some family maintain that she died by choking on what she was intubated with. So, well, I will say, foreign source, if that is the case, then you've nailed it, because that certainly would cause cardiac arrest. But I don't think anyone, except for, like any medical procedure, there's always a risk. I mean, hell, just giving blood, or if you give plasma, it came to my attention recently that if you give plasma, that there could be an adverse reaction when they send the blood back. Maybe some of your blood cells would burst, and so that there is an ultimate, there is a very low risk, but there's always that chance. It's like there's the chance of you being killed by a gorilla are pretty slim, but never zero. So you're always, I forget how the meme goes, but it's never zero. So there's always that risk. So if you do have an adverse reaction with something like an intubator, or the ventilator, does that mean that, let's just say legitimately somebody chokes, there is a serious problem, something goes awry, it goes out of the ordinary, someone dies because of a ventilator. Does that mean every single death that happens to somebody while they're on a ventilator, that the ventilator and not the underlying medical condition or conditions, they're not at play here? I mean, if ventilators were actually killing people, wouldn't that come out in the autopsies? And the idea that the mask is killing, literally killing people. I wear the mask every day. The same reason why I wear a seatbelt. Now, everybody probably knows, I'm all for civil disobedience, but not wearing a seatbelt, that's just not very smart. I don't need some government hack telling me I got to wear a seatbelt. My wearing of the seatbelt has got nothing to do with any kind of law that says you got to wear a seatbelt. It's because purely for safety. And some of us have to learn that lesson a little bit harder. Now, for me, it took a friend of mine to go through the windshield of a car and die at 20 years old. That's what it took for me to say, oh, holy crap. She would still be here if she had a seatbelt on. So from that day forward, I have always worn a seatbelt. It's just the smart thing to do. The idea that someone brought to me too, oh, you think the steering wheel, if you hold on to the steering wheel, so if you just lock your arms and run towards a wall, you're going to be okay, right? Stonayus. It's astounding to me that people are making a safety issue political. I mean, there's an awful lot of stuff to complain about when it comes to those people called government, which I'm right in. I laid the evidence out for years. Criminal organization, got it. They've got a public relations thing that keeps them in place, that they got to do certain things, and they got to make it look like they are protecting life, liberty, and property. So I get the civil disobedience. I get it. I do. I've been a proponent of that for an awful long time. Nonviolent, non-cooperation. Got it. But is not wearing a mask? I mean, we're supposed to be living by. We should. This is me. It's me. Live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due. Isn't that the beginning and end really of ethics? And being a good person, even if you just assume, oh, the conspiracy theories, though they're true, it's just the flu. They have faked what this alleged virus looks like under a microscope. They have faked replicating it. They have faked what it looks like. They have faked all of this. It's literally just the flu. It's a pretty bad season for that flu. 140,000 people dead in just a few months instead of 60,000 for the year. Even if it is just the flu, the mask can be shown to cut the spray. And some spray more than others. You can see videos, like some kind of camera that was able to see the difference when somebody, the same guy breathing and talking, with and without the mask. Oh yes, this is not going to stop the spray. Well, yeah, there's a webcam there, so I'm really not spraying too much anyway. But just blocking? Come on. If we're going to live honestly and be somewhat ethical, we have to realize that going in and being around other people, we can spread just a basic flu. Oh, everyday flu. It's just a flu. Yeah, we should all be like Dwight Schrute and just encourage people, especially if they're sick, to not don't coddle that immune system, just cough in his face, right? Yeah, you can't coddle that immune system. I've got an immune system. I don't need a mask. One of the things I thought was incredible was this rant, allegedly. I don't know if it's from him or not. Allegedly from Ted Nugent. I'm not going to live in fear. If you're in fear and you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. I'm not going to live in fear. Well, it's not living in fear. You could just say, well, if you're going to be afraid of car accidents, you travel at a reasonable speed. You look out for other people. You live in fear of having a car accident. I'm not going to use brakes. I'm not going to travel at a reasonable speed. No, I'm not going to do any of that because I'm not afraid. Such a stupid argument. Even if it is just the flu, which you're dead wrong. You are wrong. But even if it was, wearing the mask will cut down and social distancing and not having large gatherings, that will help cut down on just the flu. So I don't get the whole thing and people walking around, take that mask off, you sissy. I don't get how it became political. No, I guess I do get how it became political. I can't believe people would actually believe it though. I got to watch myself. I promise I wasn't going to say it because I don't want you people being triggered. Oh, there he goes again. Oh, time to turn it off. Time to unsub. I don't know if I mentioned this. I did have somebody unsub thinking that I was Jewish again. So I don't get that. So yeah, stop signs are tyranny. Stop signs and you don't need government to do that. And you don't need government. I don't stop at because I don't want to get a ticket. I stop because I value my own life. I value other people's lives. I don't want to be in an accident. I don't want them to cause an accident. So put the mask on. My gosh, it's not literally killing people. It's not that you're opposing your God and you're going against God's will, because God, there was the one that God breathed in and gave his soul life. And somehow, if you believe that, that's literal. If you believe that, then putting a mask on, you're in bed with the devil. You got to see this video. It's astounding to me that people like this in 2020 with access to all the information that we have still believe stuff like that and will spout this crap. Oy. Oh, well, we're going to get to the lying cops. We will get to the lying cops, but I think I got some calls here, so I will get to them. I live in Pacific Asia. I don't wear a mask. I live with 90% Asians, have an old 89-year-old lady to take care of. I see the fear Asians have, and I don't see the alleged COVID to be real. Again, dude, even if it's just the flu and it's just a monstrous year where people are dying at unprecedented rates, we put that on so that we don't spread it. Even if I am young and healthy and I'm not going to get it. Now, even if I do get it, I'll be able to weather the storm because I don't want to pass it on to somebody else. It's not a fear motive factor. It's a matter of being ethical. I don't want to hurt. I want to live honestly. I want to injure no one. I want to give every man his due. And if I go in the middle of the worst flu since 1918, and I know that I can pass it on to others, and I don't do anything to take any precaution whatsoever, I'm sorry, but the way I'm looking at it, if you have them, if you know in advance that you could spread something that could kill people that you come in contact with, or that you could help spread that, then ethically you should take some precautions to lessen the chance that you're going to do that. How is that any different than someone who has AIDS and going and knowingly having sexual relations with somebody without protection? Well, I'm not afraid of getting it. What do I have to wear a condom for? I'm not afraid of getting it. If someone deliberately goes out knowing that they have an infectious disease or knowing that they can pass on an infectious disease, and they just go out and don't take any precautions. This is not a political issue. It's not a matter of fear. It's a matter of ethics, at least in my view. If you know and you can take some precautions, then ethically you should take those precautions. And putting a mask on, holy crap, not a bad thing. Dears, let's see. Okay, I'm going to give Stahl another example that I've probably done here on the show before. I'm going to give it. This is the value of an anecdote. Okay. Like everybody else, I had two nonas, right? Two grandmothers, two. Because I am a half-breed, I have one mia nonna di Carini, Sicily, all right? Sicilian. But my other grandmother was Irish. She is of the Moriarty line. Irish. My Irish grandmother, she lived until she was 92 years old or 93 years old. She was born in 1907. She died in 1999, so that's 92 years. And she lived on her own right up until she passed away. She drank alcohol. She smoked for probably 72 of those years. I've spoken with her. I spoke to her the year she died. No Alzheimer's, no dementia, no major illnesses. But mia nonna di Sicilia, my Sicilian grandmother, she ate well. She took care of herself. She lived until she was 90 or 91. So what's the value in these two examples? They're just anecdotes. They don't have anything to do with things in general. That's why you have to look at population studies. So, for example, that vegans as a group have the lowest lowest risk of all-cause mortality. The only group in the that has a normal BMI. The average meat eater is obese. So we look at the group. So just because I had a grandmother that lived to 92, drinking and smoking, that doesn't mean that I can, or that's something. Oh, well, Mark's grandmother lived until she was 92. She drank like a fish and smoked like a chimney. Why should I be concerned about that? So you can see the value of the anecdote is zero. It doesn't tell us anything scientific. William Rand, could it be you have been told what to think and believe via fake news? Yeah, sure. Isn't the other side also true? If you think it's all just a hoax, aren't you the victim of fake? Can't you be the victim of a fake news? I'm not just listening to one source. I didn't want to get into that, but I just wanted to make another example of how ridiculous it is to look at. Well, I didn't get it. Well, who cares? I didn't get into a car accident yesterday. Does that mean nobody did? I mean, are we really using such trash reasoning skills? My daughter, she could get away with it when she was 5. She would do X. And I said, whoa, you can't do that. You're going to get hurt. I didn't get hurt. I've done it the last 2 days. I didn't get hurt. Oh, okay. I guess you'll never get hurt then. You're not looking at the basis of the analogy there, Stahl. It is not a straw man. The idea that you're not going to do something that someone else, that to take X, that I'm not going to do X because you're afraid. That's the point. The straw man is thinking that somebody is wearing the mask because they're afraid, and not because they're doing it out of concern for their community. So if the straw man in there is this ridiculous notion that everyone is wearing a mask, or whoever's wearing the mask is doing it just because they're afraid, or because they're doing it because the government told them to. I'm not doing it that way. I'll fungal what the government says. But like I've said before, hospitals here in Arizona, my wife works at one, she's there now, 100% capacity with COVID. Are all those doctors been, which you can see in a lab and under a microscope, they know what it looks like, that's how they can identify it? Fake. All those doctors are in on it, because when they kill you with that ventilator, they get $50,000 because there's someone out there, George Soros, who's given all this money, kill all those people. Aye. Wearing a mask, I agree, to those spitting while talking. You don't have to have big things to spit because you've got a horrible speech impediment. It's there whether you can, see it or not. I just happen to not be hitting the camera, thank goodness. It's there. It's not just because, look, it's, again, I'm going to move on. I'll get to the call in a second. It's not because we could carry it. We may not show any symptoms, but you can carry it and you can spread it to somebody else. This is not rocket surgery. See, my gosh, we're not living. Even in ancient Greece, there were philosophers. I can't remember the name. I don't think it was Aristotle, but there were philosophers that had the idea of little tiny things that we couldn't see that caused illness. Germs. I'll move on with just this. The mask and the social distancing is not a panacea. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not. It's not meant to be a cure-all that if you wear a mask, that you can't get it or you won't spread it to somebody else. What it's doing is, in connection with the social distancing, it's cutting down on it. It is cutting down on the spread. Well, if it's not going to eliminate it, then I'm not going to do it. Oh, here's a good one. I don't know if that's for me, though, so I don't know if I should. Yeah, well, I'm going to let that go. But let me we'll get to the caller. He's probably been patient. I will get to the other topics that I wanted to discuss. And fix your asymptomatic spreader BS. We have the peer-reviewed studies. You breathe in oxygen, you breathe out carbon. Yeah, oh, okay. The call, you're going to have to wait just a second. You breathe in oxygen, you breathe out carbon monoxide. The mask blocks this process. People commit suicide breathing in carbon monoxide. How many credible doctors have to come forward and lose their jobs? Whew. I don't even know what you breathe in. You breathe in oxygen, nitrogen, whatever's in the air, and I'm fairly certain you breathe out carbon dioxide, not carbon monoxide. I mean, unless I know cars emit carbon monoxide, gas burning engines, carbon monoxide. Yeah, I've heard this one before. That's why doctors fall down dead after wearing the mask, because they're breathing in all that carbon monoxide. I'm going to get to some callers. We may have to revisit this. We have area code 971. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, I can hear you, and hopefully that you are on the stream. So you guys let me know if we don't have the caller. Okay, I'm sorry. What was your name and where were you calling from? Oh, that's right. Right. Okay. I'm sorry. Well, I'm having the same problem as before, and I tested this before I did I did a live. I have no idea why my caller line. I can hear you, but we're not getting your audio over onto the show again, and that really, I can't. Just hold on a second. I can't even. Let's give that a shot. So because this is not working, so I don't think it'll be a difference, but we'll see. There's no reason why this is not working, and oh yeah, give me a call back on directly on Skype. Man, I don't know why that is happening, guys. It doesn't make logical sense. So someone's asking if I understand germ theory. I think I understand germ theory enough that I know that infectious diseases, viruses, can be passed either through the blood or to bodily fluids, and including when we speak. So there is no proof that they can actually isolate the virus to make the claims that they are making. Actually, there is, and you can look up the report. Again, they've mapped the genome of this, and they've known about a lot of these things for a long time. It was just like they predicted. It was just a matter of time before it jumped species. But unless you are alleging that they, all right, we're going to wait for Wesley to call back. Till then, I'll drop off the caller line completely, and hopefully we'll get that. But unless, you see, this is where we get into the whole thing where it's literally all fake. So when you have the studies done and they've mapped the genome and they know what it looks like under a microscope, and they can identify what it looks like, and they can identify and look at what the receptors and how it attaches to your cells. If you're of the idea, the camp that it's literally all fake, that all of that is fake, that any doctor, any scientist, virologist, epidemiologist, anybody could could just go to somebody that's tested positive for COVID, and they can, again, fake, and they can then go and look at it under a microscope. If it literally is just the flu, they would be able to tell. They wouldn't be able to show anybody with COVID just the regular flu, because you can see what the hell it looks like under a microscope. So there would be legions of doctors. This is just a flu. It's just a flu. Why would that? Again, I know I get the Iraq war, but you really think that every single source in the world would block all these doctors from all over the world saying it's literally just a flu, and here's the proof? This is under a microscope. I'm going to err on that it is real, and that it is not a massive worldwide conspiracy just to attack one person in the world. One. And I'm not even going to use his name. It's a global conspiracy to go after one person that they pathologically hate. One. And they're willing to murder, or not murder, depending on what, anyone who gets in their way of destroying one person. So instead of taking out the one person, they fake a global pandemic. Mark, chill. You will get it. It's just a matter of time. The mask is allegedly only to prevent the hospitals from being overrun. Well, that is part. Yeah, they don't want to overwhelm the hospitals with a fake pandemic. I might get it. I do what I can, but again, it's not. Yeah, it's not something that I'm immune to. I was waiting for Wesley to call. But drop off that. Yeah, I very well may get it. I hope not. Nice to find out that someone at the hospital, their husband tested positive and may have already infected people in the office. So yeah, I might. Skip your natural immune system process and inject SARS-CoV-2 biovirus directly into your bloodstream and obey. What the? Come on. Mark thinks influence will kill him. I don't know what that. Where is the evidence of COVID? They have it. There are papers that peer review where they go through the science, and that they did isolate, they did replicate it, they have mapped the genome, so they know what it looks like under a microscope. They can identify, and they can show where it is different visually from the flu. And they're able to show that this did jump species. Now, I don't know enough about the science to explain all the ins and outs of that. I could just go by what the peer-reviewed study is showing. That's, and again, multiple sources. So, if anybody, if this is cause, I'm a big boy. I really don't give a damn. I'll phone goal. If anybody wants to unsub, but he's going by the COVID thing, go ahead. Why don't you call it SARS-CoV-2? I call it COVID-19. What, I don't think that makes a difference. Yeah. Over in Iran, on Iraq and Afghanistan, and they wear face coverings all the time, and it's still spreading like wildfire. The Chinese have been wearing masks for years. It didn't help. It cuts it down. It doesn't help South Korea, Vietnam. New Zealand has no cases now. Really? So, yeah, it's just an allegiance to a person, it seems, with a lot. So, no duty to protect. Why now wanting to protect me and you? I explained it's public relations. If they have no duty to protect, why do they actually arrest someone like Jeffrey Epstein, who's trafficking in children? Because it's public relations. They have to do something to keep people paying and complying. They have to make it look like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, what they claim to do. That's why. And having a pandemic, and here the easiest explanation too, just as valid, I think, is if you've got a pandemic that's wiping out your tax base, So, you know, they don't give a damn about you as long as you are producing and are able to produce tax revenue. So when you have a pandemic and it's killing people and you are lowering the tax base, yeah. Do you really think that when they've got this public relations that they're supposed to be there to protect life, liberty, property, and due protection, if they did literally nothing, that there wouldn't be mass demonstrations? People would have been fed up and do, you know, to get control of things so that they can start doing things to protect the communities. Yeah, I get Jeffrey Epstein did not hang himself, but I think the victims were so vocal in that, and it was so outrageous to have Alexander Acosta go and give such a deal and to claim with 56, you know, girls, little girls, well, they're adults now, but little girls at the time, all giving the same story to different police agencies. Of course, nothing's going to come of it, unfortunately. He didn't hang himself. I don't believe that for a second. Someone said, influenza simply means influence. That's sort of like somebody put out this stupid, yeah, and I'm not somebody, the somebody isn't stupid, but the reasoning is stupid. That COVID-19 stood for certificate of vaccination instead of coronavirus disease 2019. I just yeah. Okay. Well, let me get to. I don't know what we're not getting. I'm not getting any call from Wesley, so I don't know what happened there. Why he's not calling on Skype? So what I'm going to do with the remaining time that I got left over here. I appreciate Rob in Washington from sending me this. We go back to techdirt.com. Another lying cop in Houston. And this is what I think of government. I think, I think it's a criminal enterprise that has a public relations thing where they, of course, I've said this for 20 years. Really? Almost, yeah. It's just a public relations scheme. So, yeah, they've got to do, they have to do some protection there. But I think testimony from a police officer should be presumptively false, that they have to go and they have to be able to show that with facts that their testimony is actually consistent with the truth, that it's consistent with the facts, it's consistent with reality. Cops should be presumptively false until they prove otherwise. And you go back, my history and what I think of cops is all recorded. Here we've got another example. That's why they call it test the lying when it comes to cops. Test the lying, because attorneys know this. Defense lawyers know. Prosecutors have to know, because we know prosecutors normally put lying cops on the stand. That's why they call it test the lying. They already presume that the cop is lying. They already presume it. Like 3 years ago, there was a judge that didn't do anything to the cops, but ruled and impeached 5 police officers, saying all their testimony was perjured. All of it was thrown out. It was not a shock that we have police officers that lie. That's why it is. If this video that you take of a police killing or police brutality, you do not release the damn video until the official lie comes out, and it will be a lie. It absolutely will be a lie. I don't know if this is him or not, but we shall see. I'll get back to the police lying. All right, do we have Wesley? Yes, is this Wes? Wes from New Hampshire. Guys, did you hear him? Let me know if you hear him. So just say something again, Wes. I'm going to have to let you go. I have no idea what's going on. There's no audio whatsoever from you. So I don't know what I'm going to have to let you go. I'm bewildered here. Just a little bit of the set. I tested the call line before I went live. Everything was good. I have no idea. Someone just record it and repost it. I'm not gonna. I don't have the time to do all the editing and repost it. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm sorry about that. And maybe BitChute, yeah. So 3 people can watch a live stream, and I can get overall 15 views. So, yeah, we did Skype. Wesley was just on Skype. I have no idea. It's coming through the mixer. Why it's not coming out over the air, I'm absolutely bewildered by that. So the only thing I can think of is if, and I know I checked, my audio is, if I was using the audio from the webcam, you guys would have let me know already. So yeah, the believers obey and worship their gods in suits and ties that rule them. Have you ever considered that the flu occurs every year and this is no different? The numbers are massive, and it's at least 5 times more deadly than the flu. So no, I don't think it's just the flu. I believe the scientists that can see it under a microscope and can tell the difference between the flu and a corona, a SARS type. So yeah, I have considered that, and I rejected it. Just like I don't think it's a political thing. I don't think I'm not going to I'm going to own the libtards, and you're somehow a faggot or a sissy or a Democrat, which to some that they're all the same. If you wear a mask, so yeah, I get that it may be somewhat exaggerated, but I don't think the overall trend and that the numbers are so. I don't believe that if you've got 125 deaths reported, I don't believe that 125,000. I don't believe that that's actually 1,500, and it's 10 or 100 times exaggerated. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe it's fake that the hospital, for example, my wife works at, that all 5 campuses are 100% capacity. I don't think that that's fake, and I don't think it's just the flu, because how many doctors there would be able to look at it under a microscope and say, this isn't COVID, this is literally just the flu? So no. Again, I've looked at things. Here's one. I'll derail the conversation just for a second. I took the time because a friend sent this to me, and I started to watch some video claiming to completely debunk veganism, and that veganism was actually the cause of heart disease. So eating just a plant-based diet causes heart disease. Not eating eggs, not eating meat. No, bacon, perfectly fine. It's the plants that are killing everybody. And in the first minute of the video, just the foundation was so faulty, I just stopped right there. Well, Mark, you got to finish the video. No, if you're watching something and the foundation or of which their argument is based, and you could debunk it so easily, why go any further? So this YouTuber this is about critical analysis, not the actual subject matter. Okay, it's the critical analysis part that's so important for us, especially if you're, so if you're being attacked in court. Now, I'm not telling you what to do, but we need to be able to critically analyze the information that we're in, the arguments that we're hearing. And so the argument was plants are full of cellulose, which is sugar, and that sugar triggers, and every time you eat it, triggers a massive insulin response, and is just overwhelming and killing the body. Now, I was just astonished by how stupid that is. Not that I'm not insulting the person, just the argument. How unfathomably stupid of a comment that was, or argument. That cellulose is sugar and causes a massive insulin spike, and that insulin and your body is constantly being bombarded by an insulin. Cellulose is a carbohydrate. It's not a sugar. Cellulose does not cause an insulin response. Cellulose is fiber. That's just another word for it, fiber. See, you go back to the big companies, Kellogg's and whatnot, trying to make a case that what's the sugar, the corn syrup, the corn syrup, that the corn syrup is fine. It's no different than sugar. It's like it's just it's just fructose or fructose. And that's not a problem. It's just fructose, and it's the same as what you get in fruit. And neglecting the fact that no, when you eat an apple, yeah, you will be getting fructose when you eat an apple. Sure, you're going to get a lot of sugar. Yeah, but you're also getting the natural fiber, the cellulose. So there is a war. So drinking a soda, a sugary drink with corn syrup, is not the same thing as eating a damn apple, because the apple has the natural cellulose. So after a minute, I got to turn the video off, because anybody who thinks that cellulose is sugar and causes an insulin spike doesn't know what they're talking about. Cellulose is not sugar. So that's why you gotta turn it off. Just like if a video is saying that, I watched up to a point where they said that it had not been isolated and had not been replicated. And you can go and you can see several different studies that show that it did. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying that I can't do this. Literally everything is fake. Everything they're telling us is fake. I'm not there. Right. There is no cellulose. Of course, there's no fiber in soft drinks. Of course. But you have placed things like Coca-Cola and big corporations that try to do these studies, just like, oh, well, the whole thing with cholesterol is a scam, and here's a study that proves it. And then you look at the study, and what they did was they took people who already had sky-high cholesterol and had them eat more eggs. And then after so many weeks, they tracked if their cholesterol increased significantly, and it didn't. And they try to the conclusion was, well, you see, they were eating dietary cholesterol, and it had very little impact on their overall cholesterol. Yeah, well, had you used someone like me that has a cholesterol level of 130 or 140, if that, and then I start eating dietary cholesterol, my cholesterol will skyrocket. But if you take people who already have a certain level of high cholesterol, it's going to have very little, if any, impact. Native before colonization ate meat. They did not grow vegetables. That is not true. That is absolutely false. You got to do a little bit better research. It is false. The whole thing, hunter-gatherer, it wasn't just hunter. There was the gathering thing too. And there are many archaeological evidences to show that it was tubers and starches and cooking. So that is absolutely false, that Native Americans did not eat vegetables. They introduced corn. So not true. That is definitely false. Eskimos eat meat. Eskimos, they're living because of where they're living, and they have a very low life, a very short lifespan. Oh, we're going to get into this. Just because something is from an alternative source doesn't mean you don't verify it. I've always, if I say something on here, don't take it as true, verify it. Who the hell am I? Verify it. Go through multiple sources. Use your head. So getting back to this, it's reported here by Tim Cushing. Do a lot of his articles here on the show. The fallout continues from a no-knock raid, which thankfully some places like Colorado are ending and making illegal the no-knock raids. Doesn't mean they're going to stop. Just again, a lot of things are illegal. It's illegal to kill somebody who isn't attacking you. Cops do it every day. They get away with it. Already illegal. No-knock raid in Houston that left the 2 homeowners dead. Pretty certain they weren't rich white people. The warrant was predicated on statements / controlled buys performed by a non-existent informant using drugs apparently found in Officer Gerald Goins' squad car. What was supposed to be the takedown of a dangerous heroin dealer was actually the killing of 2 people who possessed no heroin. Instead, investigators found personal use amounts of cocaine and marijuana. None of the drugs or weapons Officer Goins, claimed would be found at the residence in his warrant application. Since then, it has been proven that sworn Officer Gerald Goins is less trustworthy than the public he was supposed to protect. No, why would you frame it that way? Maybe that's sarcasm. Gerald is now facing a handful of state and federal charges related to the unjustified no-knock raid that ended with 2 Houston citizens dead. It often appears that police officers, especially those in drug units, want to earn the public's trust. All they want is a bunch of easy wins. Forced to confront the dirty dealings of a few dirty cops. A few? The local prosecutor's office is voluntarily giving up a bunch of their easy wins. Oh, maybe they don't want their records investigated. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg plans to support the reversal of at least 91 more convictions. You gotta applaud that. Involving Gerald Goins, the former Houston narcotics officer whose fraudulent search warrant affidavit led to the January 2019 drug raid that killed Dennis Tuttle and Regina Nichols. Ogg's office had already backed a dismissal of 73 cases initiated by Gerald, who faces state murder charges and federal civil rights charges in connection with the deadly invasion on a middle-aged couple's house on Harding Street. Wow. The DE's office also said, we've come to the conclusion that every conviction in which Goins was the major player for the past 11 years needs to be flipped, said Josh Reese, chief of the post-conviction Rich Division in Ogg's office. The number of cases may grow. Yeah, well, hopefully, and this is, this is common. And I'm sure, see, here's the thing. I don't want people to think I'm just going after attorneys because I don't like attorneys, because Larry Crescent's great. You're talking 91 times this officer has lied on the record. 91 times. Now, whether it's civil or criminal, these in civil court, like you have Rule 11 in the Rules of Civil Procedure. And that requires a reasonable inquiry into the facts and the witnesses and on their competency and their credibility before you decide to take something to trial. So let's say, like, using the federal Rules of Civil Procedure. Rule 11, and there are state equivalents. When you sign your complaint, whether you're a lawyer or a non-lawyer, You are certifying that you've done a reasonable investigation to the facts, and that your claims are supported by facts. That also includes that you've questioned witnesses. And these prosecutors, and it may be just that they were lax. Obviously, they did not do a reasonable investigation into the facts this guy Gerald was talking about. Had they done that, and they scrutinized the police as they would any other witness, there may not have been 91 convictions. But I would say it's a combination. They were lax and they didn't fulfill their obligation. They didn't administer justice. They worked against it by being lax. I also go so far as, because we know this is true because it's been uncovered with people like Ken Anderson, where the prosecutors know that the cop is lying. And just like in, the end of The Devil's Advocate, and you put that lying bitch on the stand anyway. They know, because even if the prosecutor is caught red-handed, knowingly putting a witness on the stand that had no business being on there, knew they were incompetent, knew they were incredible, put him on the stand anyway. Prosecutor's not gonna, he's not gonna be prosecuted for that. He's not gonna lose his, well, he might lose his job. Pretty rare. But nothing's gonna come of it. It's not gonna damage his career. Look at Steve Myrie, U.S. Attorney's Office out of Vegas, caught red-handed, lying to a federal judge multiple times, withholding exculpatory evidence. Evidence that was material and showed that the prosecution's theory of the case was dead wrong. Nothing happened. He's still a practicing attorney. More happened against me. Okay. And I didn't launch a false prosecution against anybody. It's good to be one of the king's men. Oh, we've got the kitty cat. We have a cat here that doesn't meow. That's about the best she can do. Can you muster some more? No? Okay. And there are people who think it's okay to eat an animal like that. So, yeah, I'm not going to do the caller line. We're pretty much out of time now, but I'm going to give kudos for not resisting overturning the convictions, but I can't give a pat on the back like with Larry Krasner, who had 9 innocent people exonerated, because I can't possibly, I can't accept, based on what we know about these people, I can't accept that the prosecutors did this unwittingly. I just can't. Some maybe, but 91 cases, no, someone's looking the other way. So yes, 91 cases linked to lying Houston cop may have been dismissed. 91. So some innocent people are out of jail now. So hopefully this guy Gerald Goins, however that's pronounced, hopefully he is well on his way to spending the rest of his life in prison for murder. And I doubt that he did that no-knock raid by himself. Michael Friend at No Sovereign Citizens today. My caller line, so I don't know. We may have had some calls about that. So careful, your cat doesn't have a mask and is spreading the SARS-CoV-2. Well, she very well could be, but she's been isolated here. So somebody in the house would have had to have already given it to the cat. So, yeah. All right. Well, I'm totally out of time. I appreciate people tuning in today. And hopefully, hopefully some people who didn't see it as an ethical issue can see the validity there, and a minor inconvenience of a mask, which we're not exhaling carbon monoxide. It's just a minor thing. I live in Phoenix, for heaven's sakes. I mean, wearing one outside. So that's what I would say. Put the mask on if you're going to be around people, and do the social distancing. Doesn't mean it's going to stop it dead in its tracks, but it certainly has been proven that it cuts down. So look at South Korea and New Zealand as contemporary examples of that. I will do what I can. I'll test during the week. I'll do my best to figure out what in the hell's going on, why my audio is not. That's the thing. It's a mixer. If you can hear me, you can hear everything from the mixer. I don't know, but I will do what I can to make sure we've got a call line next time. So till then, everybody, salud.